This is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditations. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This afternoon, let's explore the third passage of the great meditation manual known as Spaciousness of Vajrasattva, known in Tibet as Dorje Sempa Numkache. This was written many, many centuries ago by the great Buddhist reformer Prahe Vajra of the Swat Valley. Phenomena are not other than the true condition. Without input on our part, they appear and disappear. Naturally arising wisdom need not be actively sought. Self-liberating by nature, it reveals the way. What do we mean by the true condition? Conventionally, things are what they seem. We are wired to perceive sights. Well, let me go over here real quick. We are wired to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like externally. Internally, we are wired to perceive emotion, the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. We are wired to experience all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. No, it's not our job to shove at the painful or chase the pleasurable. It's not our job to chase the glorious or flee from the grotesque. Our job is simple. Our job is simply to notice as we breathe in and relax as we breathe out. Conventionally, things can be very, very different as we inhale, but as we exhale, they seem to smack of the same flavor. For instance, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever external or internal phenomena we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just a phenomena. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pleasure or pain we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just a feeling. Phenomena are not other than the true condition. Without input on our part, they appear and disappear. We don't need to chase after anything. We don't need to flee from anything. There's a wonderful saying, you've probably heard this before, that if you sit by the edge of the river long enough, you'll see the ashes of the pyre remains of the cremation of your worst enemy float by. Does that mean we should do nothing? The more that we notice and relax in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, the more our choices and our utterances and our deeds will flow, not from contrived calculation, not from wild scatteredness, but from love's deeply centered spontaneity. When our choices and utterances and deeds flow from love's deeply centered spontaneity, we can do great good for our family members, for our friends, for our neighbors, for strangers, even for enemies. So the advice here is not to do nothing, not to sit on our hands and do nothing, but also not to strain, but to flow from the centered spontaneity that is the fringe benefit of the mindfulness and meditation that is hardwired into us. Naturally arising wisdom need not be actively sought. So this is a funny play on words. So the subject here is wisdom, but a very special wisdom. Not contrived wisdom, but naturally arising wisdom. So I'm going to subject you to another diagram. There's the cleverness that comes from the mental exertion of active analysis. For a little bit, that can be useful. Done too much, we can exhaust our brain to such a degree that we begin presenting with symptoms of depression, no less trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. So we're not talking about insight that is the product of quote unquote making it happen. We're not talking about insight that is the product of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Au contraire, we're talking about not the contrived insight, but the naturally arising wisdom, which comes from being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. The engine that drives this worldview is us taking a few minutes every 12 hours or so to passively cooperate with our autonomic nervous system by passively noticing and relaxing in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Self-liberating by nature, it reveals the way. Simply, and I'm going to hit this as a reoccurring theme, simply by, I want to drag you back to button 9 and another illustration. Let's discuss the neuroscience of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, which could be described as the hub of our sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, notice our perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. But what do we do with that which we notice? while we meditate. How does that work? Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the very, very bottom as well as the tippy, tippy top of that same spinal cord. These two, working as a team, are the hub of our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to physically relax during our exhalation to such a degree that that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even less graspable. So this, but it only happens fleetingly until our next inhalation, when the cycle begins again. This is the wisdom of letting go. This is the key to using all the organelles of our brain in the most sustainable manner. This is the key to tapping into our own creative genius, analytical genius, and loving genius. Self-liberating by nature, it reveals the way. The simple act of vulnerably noticing and physically relaxing in harmony with our breathing frees us from the tyranny of dread and desire and delusion. Though these things might still be there, control us, they shall not. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this afternoon's live stream, together, let us sit and breathe and watch and rest. What is the most efficient way for us to gently invite our subtle energy to coalesce in our chest? All we got to do is touch the tip of our left middle finger to the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. What is the most efficient way to practice mindfulness? All we got to do is silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this every time we feel our chest swell with breath. What is the most efficient way for us to practice meditation? All we got to do is silently and mentally recite the verb rest every time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. In approximately 3.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening recitation, explanation, and practice of meditating like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.